Well, it is the end of another day, and I'm out here in the garage enjoying a cigar. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are not already subscribed to the channel, please do me a favor and subscribe. If you like the content, please share it. Hit that thumbs up button. And if there's anything that stands out to you, please add that in the comments section. I really do appreciate it. Again, I'll give a quick shout out to some of my regulars. I know I did it last night, but Nathan, Phil, Karen, Nicole, Charlie, Red, Alex, and a buddy of mine, Cayman, has started watching a couple of my videos. So shout out to them. Shout out to Melody and Akil, London and Tyra as well. Thank you all for joining me. Tonight, I wanted to talk about something that has been happening with my son that's pretty humorous. Well, I guess first off, this lighting, I do need to know. It is extremely bright to me. I don't know if it's going to translate well on the video. So if you like this lighting better, let me know. If you like the other lighting better, let me know in the comment section. I know nobody is going to agree on everything, and everybody is going to disagree on something. So just kind of want to get a consensus if you guys like the lighting or not. So my son has been doing this for a little while now, but he will tell me, "Daddy, you're on my team," or "Daddy, I'm on your team." And it's funny watching how this has transpired because he's really trying to figure it out. He says to Mommy, I'm on Daddy's team, I'm not on your team. We worked through that. His sisters, I'm on Daddy's team, not on your team. Worked through that. We're all part of a team here. Now he started going into, he says, "You're my daddy, I'm your son." And he's also gone in, he says, "Daddy, you're my father." And he's 3, so it's pretty humorous to hear him say, "You're my father." But it's even more humorous whenever he goes, "I'm your father." And I said, "No, you're not my father. I'm your father." And he goes, "I'm your son." And yes, he is my son. And it got me thinking about how often we are struggling to figure out what our roles are. Seeing it happen at 3, it makes sense. A 3-year-old is obviously going to want to know their role. But with a boy, I didn't see this with my girl so much, but with my son, I really see the importance of knowing what his role is. And I don't know if you have had that in jobs or with other people trying to force you into something, making recommendations. And a lot of times we see this when there is just no direction for us as individuals. So we look to others to try and help us find that direction. Now, while it's good to ask others, what am I gifted at? What do I do really, really well? There's a danger in it whenever you start allowing them to dictate which way you go and what your focus is on. If it's not something that you're truly passionate about, not something that really comes from an overflow of who you are. In jobs, I've had this a lot of times where I will just get myself pigeonholed into something that is not my skill set at all. Absolutely horrendous. I may be able to do it well enough for the job, but it brings me no satisfaction. It is extremely challenging to do. And ultimately, I think of how to escape it. I would encourage you, if you are on that journey of discovery, whether it be personally or professionally, really try and hone in on, first off, what that role is. So like, for instance, for me as a husband, I know that I am supposed to lead my family. That's not something that I can push off on my wife. Things get really, really bad whenever I don't step up into that position as the leader of the family. And so I have to recognize this is my role, but what does that look like? I don't say a leader as in like a dictator. I know a lot of people struggle with men who say that they are the leaders of their family. I say a lot of people. A lot of people on a specific bent do that. But the people who recognize the importance of a man leading his family understand how important that is. And so if you are sitting back and not really stepping into your role, I really do challenge you to take time to do some self-reflection and think about, what roles do I have in my life that I'm supposed to be operating in and I'm not? And through that discovery, I would love to have you put some of the comments in there of some of the things that you have uncovered as you just stop and reflect and think about it. And hopefully we'll have some things to share about the humorous things where we tried things that did not work out very well at all. Like, for instance, me trying to do a strictly admin job, not my skill set. And everybody around me pays. But anyways, so that's my little tidbit for this evening of roles and the importance of them and the importance of discovery for you in your life. So hopefully you got something out of that. Hopefully it challenged you, made you reflect a little bit. But let's continue tonight in Romans chapter 13. Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authority resists the ordinance of God, and those who resist will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Do you want to be unafraid of the authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same. For he is God's minister to you for good. But if you do evil, be afraid. For he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is God's minister, an avenger to execute wrath on him who practices evil. Therefore, you must be subject not only because of wrath, but also for conscience sake. For because of this, you also pay taxes, for they are God's ministers, attending continually to this very thing. Render, therefore, to all their due, taxes to whom taxes are due, customs to whom customs, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. Owe no one anything except to love one another, for he who loves one another has fulfilled the law. For the commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness, you shall not covet, and if there is any other commandment, are all summed up in this saying, namely, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no harm to a neighbor, therefore love is the fulfillment of the law. And do this, knowing the time that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now our salvation is nearer than when we first believed. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Therefore, let us cast off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk properly as is in the day, not in revelry and drunkenness, not in lewdness and lust, but not in strife and envy, but put on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provision for the flesh to fulfill its lusts. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it. And as always, if you are in the area and would like to join me, I would love to share a cigar with you and change the world.